Welcome to the first inaugural podcast with Gameday. Coach Kachel, head coach at Northeastern Junior College. Appreciate you being on.
Appreciate you guys having me.
Hey, Andrew, can you give the audience just a little bit of a background on, where your steps along the way have been and kind of the ladder that you've climbed to become the head coach at Northeastern Junior College?
Yeah, absolutely. So I got my first opportunity to get my foot in the door at CSU Pueblo. I coached for Stan Sanchez, who's, a Hall of Famer. He'd been at CSUP a very, very long time. He gave me my first shot, spent a year there. We had a great team, great staff, learned a lot. That team made it to the RMAC championship that season. Kind of just got fortunate from there. Ended up getting the opportunity to head to Adams State University, be on the first coaching staff to bring back a program that had a 36-year hiatus after dropping the program to Title IX. So spent, 2-3 years of a brand new program at the NCAA level. Absolutely grew and learned a lot, going from 0 players to a full team in a pretty darn good conference. And then from there, headed up to the University of Sioux Falls in South Dakota. And same from Pueblo to Adams State to Sioux Falls, got the very neat and fortunate opportunities to kind of dip my toes from pitching coach, hitting coach to recruiting coordinator. Then it all kind of came full circle. I got the opportunity to come back here to Northeastern Junior College, a place that I had played my own junior college baseball. I got to assist Coach Shepard, who had been here a very long time, 15 plus years, and, spent the last handful of years until he retired as his assistant. And then now I'm very fortunate to be the head coach here at Northeastern Junior College.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, we met about a decade ago when I started working with Gameday and took a summer college team of a lot of young guys and ended up playing your summer collegiate teams during those next couple summers, and over time kind of develop a relationship. And now it's great. I mean, we're seeing guys from our high school program going on to play at the college level, and many of which have made their way up to NJC and are having, great opportunities there and moving on to 4-year school. So it's kind of come full circle, and it's fun to watch your progression through all those years, moving from school to school, stop to stop. And I mean, man, how many kids you've been able to impact along the way? That's got to be a fulfilling part of being a coach at that level.
To me, that's the most rewarding and best part about junior college baseball. It's the toughest part because you only have them for 2 years. You're replacing half your team, if not more, every season. But to me, this is personally why I've fallen in love with junior college baseball compared to that NCAA level baseball. Because, at the NCAA level, let's be honest, I mean, 99% of all those guys' careers are coming to an end. Whereas in junior college baseball, they're just beginning. We're getting to, really see the biggest, leaps and jumps and growth and development, in my opinion, where it's that, wet behind the ears, fresh out of high school. We get to see them fail and go through the adversity and the tough times, but then really grow from it and take the bigger strides, bigger jumps. And then for me, like I said, the most rewarding part is after 2 years here, their careers are usually just beginning. So we're helping head on down the road to, another 4-year program and to a university or a college to go continue getting that bachelor's degree and continue their career as well as their education.
Absolutely. Well, you kind of just segmented right into the next set of questions that I wanted to ask you about was really the difference between a 4-year school and a 2-year school, community college, junior college route versus an NCAA or NAIA campus and an opportunity to play at the next level. If you could just touch on that, especially, this podcast, we're going to be geared a lot towards the junior college level because that's where you're at. But I know you can kind of give us a breakdown between the two for the audience to learn a little bit about that.
Yeah, and we won't go too crazy because I know we don't have all day and we could talk baseball all day, but
sure.
Really the benefit of junior college baseball is is size, opportunity, and amount of reps. Because at that junior college level, I mean, we're a little less handcuffed than the NCAA as far as the rules, restrictions, and time restraints. So, you know, come fall here, we're going to get to practice much more often than at the NCAA level, where once they get past kind of that first calendar window, you know, it used to be the 25 practices as a team. Now it's, you know, a set amount of days in a calendar window. Once they're done with that, though, they're done practicing as a team, as a whole. Whereas same in the fall at the NCAA level, they're allowed 3 competitions, you know, three games. We're allowed 14 dates. So, you know, we're going to be practicing Monday through Monday. We're going to get after it a heck of a lot more. The amount of reps, the amount of coaching, the amount of one-on-one time with coach and player is just that much higher in value and an amount of time at our level than that NCAA level. And then on top of that, like I said, you throw in the 14 competitions. Luckily, you know, here at NJC, you know, Robbie Bales, Brian King, all those other guys that spent so many years with us and in the summer collegiate leagues are all off coaching in the RMAC now, to where we've kind of made sure that everyone in the RMAC, well, they only get 3 games and they better make sure one of their 3 is against us. Yeah. So in the fall, you know, they're going to get 3 games. Well, I'm going to get 14 days to go play all of them. So, you know, we're going to play every single, you know, Division I and Division II program in the state that we can. And I mean, you're looking at between 14 dates, aka about 28 games in the fall here at our level versus 3 at the NCAA level. You know, 28 games plus inter squads, plus scrimmages, plus practices. You're looking at 50 games worth of at-bats, innings, opportunities in the fall, and then turn around at 56 games worth of at-bats, innings, and opportunities in the spring. Plus, then we're going to go send you to a game day or wherever it may be in the summertime to go get another 50-plus games. Just the amount of time on the baseball field, going through adversity, going through failure, playing the game, getting the reps. That's the huge benefit, you know, immediately of junior college baseball. And then to just add on it, you know, cost as far as, you know, what it costs to come to our program as compared to, you know, an NCAA Division I, Division II program. It's going to be much more affordable for mom, dad, you know, the student. And then on top of that, if you come here and you can go to class, get good grades, achieve that 3.0 or better, you know, minimum, and have that associate's degree when you leave here, you're going to walk yourself into a world of opportunity and scholarship money before they've even talked about your baseball skills when it does come time for junior, senior year and making those decisions. So, you know, today's world, especially in, you know, right now, I mean, gas prices alone, let alone a college education, are starting to get outrageous. So, you know, affordability on top of, like I said, I mean, it's the best bang for your buck you can get as far as what you're going to be paying to get a quality education. And you're going to be getting 10 times more the amount of, you know, coaching, instruction, reps, and things that you can do on a ball field. So,
yeah, I think for the audience to understand that a little bit more, to the financial impact of a junior college versus a 4-year, I think it's safe to say, depending on the level of program you're at, actually 100% true, no 4-year schools have 100% full rides throughout their entire program. And would you say it's safe to say that a lot of kids, or the majority of kids on the NCAA rosters, are probably on little to no baseball scholarship money? They might be on some type of academic support, but you talk about the overall cost of the junior college being better. I think a lot of people misunderstand college baseball and think everybody's on some type of scholarship and everybody's on some type of financial aid, when the reality is, and if you could touch on this, baseball has very little money to go around to support their scholarship athletes. So it's not that there won't be a few guys that are in that conversation, but the reality is the majority of guys are not on financial aid when they play college baseball.
Yeah. It's been addressed for many, many, many years at the NCAA meetings. I still don't understand how the rules are what they are, but, you know, unfortunately baseball is far from football. you know, at most, you know, there's some programs that, you know, are flirting with that full 11.7 scholarships. And that means, you know, 11.7 fulls, but they still have to be distributed across 24 guys. So, you know, same currently, we can put 24 players on money, but it does not mean I have 24, you know, full scholarships. It's not even close to that. You know, if you break things up evenly, you know, you're lucky if it's 24 guys that you can pay a quarter of their school.
Yeah,
that,
absolutely.
you know, actually the gist of it. So without a doubt, it doesn't matter. Division I, Division II, Division III, NAI, junior college. Baseball is not football. We do not have the funds, the scholarships, the opportunities, or the piggy banks that, you know, other sports do. And that's why personally, like I said, to be able to go that junior college route and build not only a resume as far as, you know, ERA or batting average or accomplishments on a baseball field, but also build that resume in the classroom as far as, you know, I have an associate's degree with this GPA. I'm graduating with an associate's of business or associate's of arts. It holds weight, and those four-year colleges recognize that, see that, and reward that. Because if you've already proven that you're going to go to school, they're going to retain you because you proved you stayed for 2 years. They're going to see that, you know, you didn't get homesick, girlfriend sick, you know, whatever it may be, and want to leave or go home. And you proved you went to class and you passed. So therefore, you know, colleges get money in return for students that they retain. So therefore you are a low risk, you know, it's a no brainer. They want you to come to their program. And you're going to walk yourself into a lot of academic scholarships and opportunities to now help, you know, get tacked onto that baseball where, I mean, you're absolutely right, Mike. There's nobody on a full ride.
Yeah.
Baseball.
Well, I think
academics and some other things that you can't still make that happen though.
For sure. And I think you touched on that a little bit. And that's, you know, part of the conversation that is that not everyone is well enough educated on, and why from a club perspective at the high school level, the one thing that we will say from now until the end of time is that they need to concentrate on the academic part more so than the athletic part in the classroom, because it creates those opportunities for you to then go pull from, and I'm generalizing the college coach in this situation, but to be able to go pull from a more endless amount of money on the academic side and pair that with a small amount of money on the baseball side to make that player whole. So now if you're the good baseball player, but you're also, you know, a guy that does it right in the classroom and is consistent there, now there's even more doors open because that academic money can come into play a lot easier for a baseball coach than the athletic money.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, to touch on just kind of your process in recruiting, because this is really kind of the nuts and bolts what I want to dive into, is the recruiting process in general. So can you walk me through maybe what does it mean to be recruitable by NJC? And I use the term recruitable for athletes to say, hey, man, you can be a great athlete, but a guy that's a high risk student, and all of a sudden you're not as recruitable, or you can fit the whole package and then you're really recruitable. Can you kind of touch on what you guys look for in a player at NJC? And I would assume that would stay pretty well flushed throughout the junior college level.
Yeah. You know, at least personally in our program, we've kind of tried to cling or attach ourselves to a quote the last couple of years, and it's how you do anything is how you do everything. You know, so what it means to be being recruitable, we want a guy that is going to approach the classroom the same way he approaches game day. We want a guy who's going to approach practice the same way as he approaches game day. We want someone who approaches, you know, every aspect of their life, you know, at the highest level possible. And that might be from doing community service with our baseball team to, like I said, you know, 6 a.m. weights or 8 a.m. class, study hall, practice on a Tuesday when it's 105 and windy and it's been a long week, or, you know, whether it's coming out and having to shovel snow, because here in Colorado, you know, spring baseball is an absolute blast sometimes. So, but we want someone who, you're absolutely right, is going to be, you know, low risk and represent our program at the highest level, not just on game day, but on the field, off the field, in the classroom, in the cafeteria, doing community service. Like you said, today we're going to go out and help at a local high school. Any way, shape, or form, that's what we're looking for. And then as far as in today's world, there is more talent than ever before. With COVID, the logjam, all the years that have been granted back, multiple upon multiple, graduating high school classes that came out where no one went anywhere on the college end. There's more talent than ever before because there's more kids playing college athletics than ever before. There's tons and tons of talent. The game is in a very great place personally, because I think the game is as talented at every level from Division I down that it has ever been, which is fun to watch and fun to experience. But at the same token, there's more talent than ever before. And it's something we've talked about as well as, kind of in recent weeks, and we're now in a playoff push, something we're trying to really do a better job of, as well as, we're in a playoff push. And right now we've been preaching to our guys, toughness beats talent. There's talent everywhere, but we want the kids who, like I said, have a little chip on their shoulder, want to work harder than the guy next to them, perfectly realize that that Division I transfer portal is probably going to go crazy again in May. And the kid that wants to outwork everybody and anybody. And like I said, go beyond the first one here, the last one to leave, and approach not just baseball, but like I said, class, life, weight room, and everything they do kind of with that attitude of, I'm good, but I'm not good enough yet. And that little chip on the shoulder, that toughness type of guy, that personally is kind of what we're trying to push and hopefully, get more of and change a culture or create a culture here moving forward.
Absolutely. You talk about culture, and I know that's developed over time and crucial for, any environment you're in, but specifically in the sports world, because you have a clubhouse culture, you have guys that are pulling for one another and spending a lot of time together. With that being said, a lot of parents and players often think if I hit a certain number, if I get a certain exit velo, or if I do this right, then I'm automatically a guy that's being seen. I want to touch on some hard lines that you guys have in the recruiting world. Is there a certain GPA, a high school kid that's a senior right now that's looking to come to NJC? Is there a certain GPA he needs to get in the classroom to be a guy that is going to be eligible? Or is that ever changing based off admissions for you guys?
Yeah. When it comes to the recruiting world, the older and older I get, the more I'm learning that there's not black and there's not white, and there's always going to be, the gray area in between of, they're kids. They make mistakes. They're going to make mistakes. You and I both played college athletics. We both made mistakes, but that's the important thing, that I think we're fortunate to be in is how do you help them learn from them and grow from them? And, when it comes to recruiting, perfect world, without a doubt. My sister and I talk all the time. It's the kid who is throwing at 84 with a 3.5 GPA is a heck of a lot more, recruitable and making us a lot less worried than the kid who's throwing at 86 but has a 2.2. Kids with, like I said, we look at it without a doubt. We look at it to where, perfect world, we don't want to touch the guys where it starts with a 2. It better start with a 3. Perfect world, it's a 4, but Robbie and Brian are probably getting all those guys at Mines. High grades, without a doubt, because if we're going to take a risk, make an investment in you in scholarship money, the last thing we want is to essentially be paying you to come here and not be eligible and not be able to be on a field and fail. So that's something we'll always, look at and take into consideration. Now, same token, like you said, we all made a mistake or failed a class or had a bad semester. I know there's instances. I know there's moments. Maybe it's a family situation going on at home or a death or flat out. We've had players where with COVID, the moment it all shifted online, I'll be the first to tell you, we already had to stop once today because I had to figure out all this technology where I fully understand that with COVID, when classes shifted online, some guys made mistakes. Maybe they failed some classes or they struggled, learning that way. So, there's always that gray area, but without a doubt, I mean, when it comes to hard numbers, the higher the better.
Yeah.
The lower you're going to make it on yourself when it comes to grades. And then as far as baseball goes, I mean, yeah, there's always if my exit velocity's 90 this, or my spin rate's that, or I can throw it this. At the end of the day, like I said, there's talent everywhere, but we want toughness. And there's a difference between, being able to do a pull down and a turn and burn into a square screen, and hit a ball off a T109. But at the end of the day, what can you do on game day? Can you play the game when someone's, trying to sequence you and throw it from 60 feet, 6 inches? And then you might be the slowest runner in the world, but you might be a great base runner because you're smart and you read UCLA's and down angles and counts. So at the end of the day, those are things that, like I said, to me, I don't get too wrapped up in the, how hard does he throw? What's his exit velocity? What's his spin rate? They're all great things and measurement tools, I think, to help maybe coach and help players develop. But as far as recruitment goes, I really don't pay any attention to any of that.
That's all awesome, useful information. I think, and like you said, every program might recruit a little differently. But, I think the exit velos and the spin rates and all that stuff you said is great measurement tools. And you guys might get, we're talking about this in a minute, but you might get things that come across your desk showing those numbers. But at the end of the day, it sounds like recruiting is a relationship business too. And we've obviously developed a relationship between our club and you. I know we're probably one of many that you guys have conversations with. But I want to talk about kind of the next step as well. So you have a junior college player that comes to you guys, goes through your program, which is essentially a player development program. You're developing the athlete and the student at the same time. And then your goal is at the end of the day to transition that athlete into a 4-year school. So they're going to go be an impact player as a junior moving into their junior year. And that's kind of the scenario of junior college baseball. In that sense, what kind of relationships do you have with other 4-year schools and how are those grown? And how does that really affect, your process of both having to recruit a high school athlete? And then on the backside, you're also doing the other thing, you're promoting your athletes in the recruiting process. You're really on both ends of it. How do you guys move guys on to other schools? Is there schools you have better relationships with? And how does that grow so that, NJC players have as many opportunities as possible to pursue baseball in that junior season?
Yeah. Baseball, especially the older I've gotten, the more I've learned it's really a fraternity. It's a family. It's a network. In the grand old saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And you're right. We're on both sides of this. Not only are we bringing the high school athlete in, and like you said, creating relationships and learning very quickly, whose word holds some weight and whose maybe doesn't, and who you're getting consistent great kids from, and not just talent, but like we talked about, all aspects, and maybe where we're learning that maybe we won't go again, and those type things. But then on the flip side, yeah, it's continuing to just try and to meet, network, reach out, and create as many relationships at the 4-year level as possible. I was very fortunate to kind of start, my coaching career at a young age at the 4-year level. And we have a great relationship with a lot of great people here in the RMAC and in Colorado. And I've created a lot of friendships and relationships with a ton of 4-year programs. And then same attending the ABCA and the National Coaches Convention and continuing to network and grow and meet more people. And then, really the best tool I think you really have is your players, to where, when you have players come through your program, grow, learn, develop, and mature, and then go off and play at the 4-year level, the ones that have gone on to have success and represent, what our program hopefully, values and teaches, The moment they get a good apple, they want more. So at the end of the day, it's, I think honesty, friendships, it's, that's what I think a lot of parents have to understand too, is that, we have to be honest, because if we sell one kid to one program who isn't what we said he is, that program's never coming back again. And that might affect Johnny 3 years from now, that we haven't even met, haven't even signed or recruited yet. So, I think kind of the big thing in our program is, continuing to grow those networks on both sides from the high school as well as the 4-year. But I think one thing kind of we've always tried to push with our program is, if anything, we'll kind of undervalue, undermarket our guys. If anything, we're going to be honest at what their strengths are. We're also going to be honest at what their weaknesses are and where they need to improve. Because like I said, we're not going to lie to anybody. And we want college programs to continue to want to come back and sign our guys and take our guys and like I said, not impact or affect somebody 4 years from now who hasn't even stepped foot, on campus here at Plainsman Park.
That makes sense. And those relationships absolutely matter in any walk of life, but baseball seems like even more so in the recruiting world. Can you talk about what you've gone out, you've recruited a player. He said, yeah, I'm coming to play at NJC, and he steps on the field for you, or he steps on campus. What's his day-to-day look like? Maybe, give us a brief rundown of what the off season or maybe the fall and winter seasons look like as compared to the spring season, being both a college athlete and then a college student, which is a full burden in itself. So being able, that's a lot on your plate to handle. How do players go about their daily, routine?
Yeah. So, we'll go just fall, spring. Fall here is pretty much going to look, we'll go Monday through Sunday. So Mondays, we have, Mondays, we have mental Mondays. So they're a classroom setting where, position players are going to come in separate from pitchers. We break them into 2 groups. Mondays, they would come in instead of a practice time. We have sports, these little sports psychology packets. We're going to sit down. We're going to talk about, the in between the years, what's going on up here. That is, this game continues to keep picking up, speed with each level you're going to continue to climb. How can we slow it down? So those are Mondays. But it's typically Monday through Friday. They're going to have classes from, 8 until 2. There's going to be some breaks in between, depending on, Tuesdays, Thursdays might be lab days, but Mondays through Fridays, they're going to have classes from 8 until 2. Wherever their gaps are in their schedule, that's where we're going to place their weights. So instead of the old days of waking up at 5 a.m. and being in a weight room, we've kind of gotten away from same thing. If we're going to preach proper health, proper sleep, proper rest, all the proper things you need to be doing, then let's be honest, being in a weight room at 5 a.m. is not doing anybody any good. Because now they're not getting proper rest, proper sleep, proper all the things they need. Plus, I've been there, you've been there. No one wants to be doing anything except staring at the back of their eyelids. So, Monday through Friday, like I said, classes 8 to 2. They might have, let's say, a 2-hour gap on Tuesdays and Thursdays in that, 11 to 12:30 mark. That's where their weights is going to be placed. They all have packets. They know their lifts for the week. They're going to be in there and grind out their weight room. Now, Tuesday through Friday, like I said, Mondays are mental. Tuesdays through Fridays, we're going to practice, 2:30 to 5, give or take, depending on the day and what we're doing. For us, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, kind of in the fall, are kind of spring training days where it's individual positions, infielders, for a solid hour of infield work, outfield with a solid hour of outfield work, catching, with picks, blocks, solid hour of their individual work. Pitchers, they're their own world. They're doing it every day. But typically, like I said, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, it's very individualized for maybe the first portion of practice. Now, maybe same, we're going to get into some individual hitting, and usually one day is going to be, some sort of team defense aspect, whether it's pop-up communication, first and thirds, pickoff plays, outside perimeter cuts and relays, those type things. But Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are detail days to where we're going to try and get very detailed. Fridays typically, just depending on the week in the fall, might be a little lighter, or it might be like a team aspect to lead us into the weekend. Because essentially every Saturday, Sunday in the fall, we're often playing. So we're going to be playing, hopefully, preferably, a 4-year program, whether it's Division I, Division II, NAI. We're going to be taking our 18, 19-year-olds to go play the 23, 24-year-olds and, see just where we're at, as well as also start creating that opportunity of getting them in front of 4-year programs and coaches. So those coaches can put their own eyes on them. And then, like I said, for us, it's a great learning experience because those 18-year-olds go play the 24-year-old and realize, wow, I'm not as good as I thought coming out of high school. So it is kind of that humbling experience of the eye-opening. There's a long ways to go before we're going to send you there and you're going to be that finished product. But that's kind of then a rinse and repeat throughout the fall, where it's going to be, Monday back to the mentals. Let's take a day off coming off the weekend of games. Sit down, talk about things now. And this weekend, this is what happened, and dive into those packets and kind of relate now and talk it out in a classroom family setting of, hey, you look silly, in the third inning in that one at bat on a 1-1 slider with a runner at second, and talk those things out. And then, like I said, now dive back into Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, maybe some different individual type things of addressing, whether it's hitting, whether it's base running, individual positions on defense. And then once again, back to Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we're going to be playing. So fall's a grind. It's rinse, repeat 7 days a week, and you do it until there's snow on the ground and we can't be outside anymore.
Yeah. Now in that fall, can you explain to people listening, is that going to be is everybody in the fall with you in the spring? Is that your set roster for the spring, or to use fall as a tryout?
Yeah. I mean, fall's your time to make the team come January. That's why we're not only playing the 14 dates against outside competition, but if we're not playing, somebody from the RMAC or UNC Greeley or Air Force or, Bellevue, whoever it may be, if we're not playing someone from a 4-year program, we're playing each other. There's going to be a doubleheader that weekend. It just might be inter squad and scrimmage. But fall is your time to, August, September, October, November. It's 4 months to prove, whether or not you truly belong, in a uniform, one of those 35, 36, come springtime. Because when we come back from Christmas break, it's not like we can have tryouts. Like we come back, second week of January and we're playing the last week of January. So you have, 2-3 weeks to pretty much just bring 36 guys back and be like, hey, let's get us back into shape, knock the rust off. Hopefully you didn't eat too much, holiday food and get ready to go here because the season starts in 3 weeks. So,
absolutely. Well, and so you talk about that 36 number, on average, how many cuts does that leave you as a college program from the fall back into the spring? How many guys won't be coming back after that first semester in a college program?
Yeah, I it depends, of course, always program to program. I'll be the first to admit our numbers have been very high the last 2 years with COVID. Guys didn't go anywhere. Guys kept coming out, and then we kept getting transfer portals. So, numbers have been higher than they've relatively typically ever been. Perfect world, getting back into next year now that COVID's kind of, releasing a little bit here. And I'm thinking hopefully the world's going to get somewhat back to normal as far as the recruiting world goes. Perfect world, you're going to be around 50-ish in the fall. Now, all of a sudden you have that wiggle room of about 15 to 20 where, 15 to 20 guys, there's going to be probably 5 that homesick, don't make grades, don't go to class, don't represent your program the way you would like it represented, those type that will dismiss themselves. And now all of a sudden it's 10 to 15 that, it gives you that wiggle room. If there's injuries or maybe a guy's just not quite, ready ready, not only athletically, but maybe academically, or maybe, there's a kid who has talent, promise, but it's just having a tough time with transitioning time management skills where, let's help them grow, develop. So a perfect world about 50. And then, you're going to narrow down, and then come spring, 35 come back, and we still very well might have that 10 to 15 that we're on the outside looking in, still here every day, growing, developing, going through the red shirt process of still going to class, still coming to practice 7 days a week, getting better, growing, maturing, bigger, faster, stronger. And you're going to come back next year, and guess what? You're a freshman. Now you know everything. So, there's those benefits of redshirting as well. I hope parents understand that in all reality, redshirting is not a bad thing. If it was personally, I've joked around for years, if it was up to me, I wish it was like the good old days where, as a freshman, you could not play. Where if they forced every freshman to redshirt, redshirting, my brother did it, I did it. I honestly think it was the best thing for me, because it was by the time you really played your freshman year, you had a year's worth of knowledge and growth and maturity that, it's amazing what 1 year of being at the college level really does for a young man. So
absolutely. We've touched on just the landscape of college recruiting in general. Can you just real quick, just give us a brief overview of what it looks like right now, maybe who's being affected the most in the recruiting process because of the free years given back to players for their COVID years, essentially keeping seniors in school for another year or two longer and starting to create a quasi logjam at certain levels. Can you kind of let parents know what it looks like now and then how that might ease up here moving forward?
Yeah. Today's current onset, of course, we had a couple of years of COVID. There's this big amount, log jam than there's ever been. And then really kind of the other big curveball that got thrown into it all is that one-time transfer rule, where now, of course, any player at the NCAA level can transfer and leave and go wherever they would like without having any sort of punishment or penalty, and can immediately be eligible to play. So, what that's caused is not only is there more players, but then, same, just for example, let's say, the best player at some, mid-major Division I or a high-level Division II has a tremendous year, great year. Well, he can now transfer and go to Vanderbilt or Texas or, any high-level Division I program without, sitting out at all. So, the rich have gotten richer. I guess would be the saying a little bit, as far as, the best have gotten that much better. Same token though, like I said, we talked about it earlier in the podcast. The talent level at the college level right now it's unbelievable. It's higher than ever before, because, I think guys that maybe had gone Division I in the past are not anymore. They're maybe sliding, down to Division II or going the junior college route, or maybe over to the NAI route. But there is absolutely more talent than ever before. As far as who that's affected, it's affected everyone. The high school kid, without a doubt, because that's the thing that mom and dad have to realize is there's more places for Division I, Division II, and NAI programs and JUCO programs. There's more places for us to go shopping and recruiting than ever before. We used to just 4 years had JUCOs and high schools. Well, now they all have each other plus JUCOs and high schools. So, that transfer portal at one point, the largest it ever got was close to, 2,500 plus kids. That's just baseball. That was last summer prior with COVID, where you're talking, there was 2,500 Division I and Division II baseball players alone, all looking for new homes, looking to transfer. That's immediately. That's before you've even, gone down and looked at the junior college guy. So, it's tough. And that's where I think, the high school parent, the high school student needs to understand that, that maybe they're not the top priority anymore, because like I said, now a 4-year program can maybe go get, a transfer who's already proven that he's been on campus at an NCAA program for 2 or 3 years, made grades, proved he can be away from home, and is maybe already started to build a resume and put some numbers up and some stats at that level. He's already proved everything he needs to prove. To where that high school kid maybe does have talent, but high school's high school, college is college. I'm sorry, they're not the same thing. To where, that's where, like I said, a lot of college programs I feel have gotten stronger, and it's made recruiting that much more interesting, because I won't lie. I mean, we're at a point right now as well. We really like our program, our club going into next year, and we're very picky at a point as well, where it's kind of waiting, because we know that coming May, every year now in May, there's free agency in college athletics, where, somebody's going to essentially put themselves into the portal and say, hey, I just spent my freshman year or sophomore year or junior, senior year at wherever it may have been. And for some reason, whether it's, like I said, playing time, or maybe just didn't like the fit, or maybe it's the weather. Heck, it could be anything nowadays. But for whatever reason, they're in the portal and they'd like to leave. And every college coach in America now knows that come May, June, maybe that first 2 weeks of July, essentially there's free agency on top of the normal recruiting process of going through athletics as well as junior college athletics.
Yeah, that's incredible. It's really just created a whole new world in recruiting. I feels like I was a 2004 high school grad, and we kind of had grassroots recruiting at that point. I was sending out player profiles. Thank God I did. I touched my parents both played collegiate athletics, so I had a little bit of a heads up. And now we're talking to high school guys about building the recruiting profiles and uploading numbers seamlessly into an app that then is contacting college coaches frequently. I mean, it's almost like they're all individual free agents, and recruiting, has been more something that, any individual player can take on themselves more than it ever has been. But, like you talked about, college baseball just keeps getting better. I know Major League Baseball is, shorten their draft, which means there's going to be more really high-end high school baseball players that previously may have moved on to professional baseball going to college. And all of that is a trickle-down effect, which it ultimately makes everybody else stronger. So, you can appreciate that. But I think at the end of the day, your advice to parents and kids kind of having an understanding of, junior college is a great route. And, where you may have had a potential opportunity at a 4-year, 10 years ago, that might not be the case anymore. But how bad do you want to play college baseball? And are you willing to go and grab an opportunity to do so? And I think in saying that, I want to be conscious of your time. What's some advice that you could give a high school player now? You're talking to the 2024 athlete right now, or 2025 athlete. What's the best thing, a freshman or a sophomore, or even a junior high school baseball player can do to make themselves recruitable, but also maybe stand out from the rest, so to speak?
Best advice I can give is, it's kind of the old school. Play as much as possible. Play the game. Now, pitchers saying be smart with your arms and those type things, but there is no replacement for playing the game, learning the game, experience, the live at bats, the live situations of base running mistakes and making errors, and that is all growth. So, biggest piece of advice: play, and play as much as you can. Grow, learn from it all. Number 2, get in the weight room. Get in the weight rooms, start getting in there and getting stronger. Because same thing. You might be the best player on your team. Well, guess what? When you get to college, it's 35 guys that were all the best player on their team. And that's just our team. And we got to go play 8 other teams that were all 35 players that were the best players on their teams. And that's what I don't think a lot of kids grasp and understand until they get there, walk through the door and go, oh. And it's that, I'm not the big fish in the little pond anymore, to where I'm the little fish in a really big pond. Where, but get in a weight room, start lifting, start getting stronger. Number 3, of course, same thing, grades. Make yourself marketable. Don't be the guy that has all the tools and all the talent, but like I said, makes it very tough for them to want to take a chance or take a risk on someone that possibly may or may not get it done in a classroom. Like I said, these are things that we're going to be basing a lot of recruiting decisions on, seeing kids, you know, a handful of times. In all reality, it's going to be a handful of times. And, you know, we have to base decisions on, is it worth taking a chance on someone that we don't know is going to wake up and go to 8 a.m. class? So go to class, get good grades, do those type of things. And then last but not least is you're getting into junior, senior year. Without a doubt, there's the showcases, there's the tournaments, you know, there's those type of things. But, you know, for years, kind of my personal belief has always been, and maybe it's different because I'm at the junior college level and you can come visit us, but, you know, sit down and make a list. Make a list of 5 to 7 schools that realistically, now granted, there might be 2 that are hopes, dreams, aspirations, but pick out 5 to 7 programs that realistically you think you could possibly play at, and reach out, email us, shoot us an email, say, hey coach, you know, my name is Andrew Kachel. I'm a catcher. I'm from Colorado Springs, Colorado. I'm graduating in this class. Last year I hit this, you know, whatever it may be. And then, oh, by the way, you know, I would love to come visit you and work out for you if that's possible. I've also attached, you know, a couple quick little video clips, some swings, some throwing. You know, I saw your guys' fall schedule because I've already looked you up online and shown I'm mature, hint, hint, cough, cough, you know, players, moms, dads here. I peeked at your fall schedule. Would there be any possibility I could come up there next Thursday and, you know, work out with the team or come see the program or whatever it may be? But in my opinion, you know, you can go crazy to an extent on those showcases and tournaments and all that, to where without a doubt, they are some great opportunities. But personally, you know, there's not a better $50 spent in gas money than to go put yourself in front of someone, you know, one-on-one with their own eyes. And because I love it from a coach because I get to see it in person and you came to me. And then B, as a player, I hope they love it, or at least I also love it from the player standpoint of, you're going to come work out with our program or see our campus and immediately see our culture, see the day-to-day, see what's going on, and get a feel for whether or not you like this and can be a part of this. That'd be my biggest piece of advice is, like I said, A, play the game, B, get in the weight room, C, get good grades. And then last but not least, kind of you know, make a list and then contact those schools directly and go get in front of them. That might be the best money you ever spend, rather than, I mean, there are some, you know, places or camps or showcases where without a doubt, there are unfortunately some places that might be money grabs or whatever it may be, where, and not to mention you're basing, you know, you're hoping on standing out in front of 100 kids on one day at a lot of those events, to where how good's that day? You know, and some kids, like we talked about, that's why I don't pay too much attention to the velocity, the numbers, the this, the that, because some guys aren't showcase guys. I mean, we've got a right-hander right now who could flat out pitch, but if he went to a showcase, I mean, there's not a single guy that's going to stare at him and go, oh, it's right-handed and it's 84 to 86. Like I need that guy. No, but if you watch him throw, yeah, you're going to look up and it's going to be the 6th inning and there's no runs on the board. And I mean, and he's had no traffic and he's breezed, to where, you know, that type of guy, though, like you said, doesn't get noticed at a showcase, but, you know, one-on-one and kind of individually, you recognize those things.
That's awesome. Now I'm going to flip on its head and ask you some advice for parents out there that have players going through the process. What's your advice to high school parents? I know you like I think that's up for you.
Moms, dads, I have kids too. I have a 3-year-old and a 7-month-old. So I say that before I continue. But mom, dad, we're recruiting your son. We're not recruiting you. And same token, it's their career, it's their life, and they've got to start taking some of their own responsibility. So like I said, if they're interested and they truly want to play college athletics, they're going to find out just what sort and type and level of commitment it is. So they need to be the one to reach out. They need to be the one to make a phone call. They need to be the one to send an email. No offense. Yeah, I do not want to really at all interact with mom and dad when it comes to the recruiting process, because I'm wanting to learn about the 18-year-old, 17-year-old young man that's about to come through our program or potentially be a part of our program. I want to learn about them. So, you know, and I get it. It's tough. It's hard. But, you know, my best piece of advice is, like I said, without a doubt, support them, help them. You know, I love seeing parents come on, you know, all the visits when we do have players here and they do come in to visit or work out or do it, you know, any of that, without a doubt. I love to meet moms and dads and kind of reassure them that we'll make sure they're going to class and, you know, classes are mandatory, not optional. And we're going to make them eat with a hat off and do some other things to help their son grow into a fine young man. But besides that, I mean, that's my biggest thing is it's their life and you're not their agent or anything other than, you know, their mom and their dads. Just be their mom and their dad and support them. And other than that, you know, let them spread their wings and grow up and learn to be a fine young man. Because, you know, at the end of the day, we're recruiting them.
Awesome. Well, hey, man, I really appreciate you coming on. We covered quite a bit today in the recruiting process, specifically at the junior college level. Obviously, you know, we'll keep developing relationships from our perspective as a club and kind of emulate what you guys are doing on the player development side, and hopefully transitioning quality athletes to the next level, which I'm sure there's going to be a few going through your program again at some point. But you know, all the best the rest of the way this spring. Hopefully you guys are come out on top in this playoff hunt coming up. But it's been fun watching you grow a program up there in Sterling, Colorado, not too far away from where we're at down here in Parker.
Well, I appreciate it. And we've had a lot of game day boys that have come through here and helped, you know, make NJC what it currently is. And we've got 2-3 more committed for next year. And
there we go. Don't
be wrong. I'm already peeking at a couple of right-handed arms that are 2023s that I know you have down there. And you guys do a tremendous job as well, as far as, you know, preparing your kids and your fine young men to be mostly, you know, as best prepared as they possibly can to come experience college, you know, in adversity and growth. So we love them. You guys do a terrific job. All your coaching staff down there, Mike, from you to Trey, Diaz, and the whole kit and caboodle you guys have at the bubble. Keep doing what you guys do. We absolutely appreciate it. And we'll absolutely be back for more. And thank you guys for having me on. I know they say they saved the best for last, and that's why I was first.
So. The best for first. We're flipping it over. All right, man. I appreciate it. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, later. Bye.
How we do, Mark?
Hey.
All right.
Good.
I think we're good.
Fantastic. I think it all looked good.
Well, there's